Before we start, I'll just quickly introduce myself. Hi, Claire. I'm Tanushree. I'm an editorial content specialist at G2. And this right here is an interview for a segment called Industry Insights, where we try and get like some insights from some of the industry leaders and on some of the trending topics, and which will help like our budding marketers to get some inside scoop and also idea about what's going on. And I'm excited for this conversation today because we are going to jump in knowing a lot of things about Qualified, about your strategy, and again, as I mentioned, about the AI in Action Roadshow panel discussion. So jumping right in. On my first question, what inspired Qualified to develop an orchestrated approach to AI agents rather than just deploying them in isolation?
Yeah, at Qualified, I think we recognized early on that AI agents can't drive meaningful outcomes if they operate in silos. And, buyers really are expecting this cohesive, personalized journey, not these like fragmented interactions with disconnected agents, I guess. And so by orchestrating one unified AI SDR agent across the entire marketing funnel, I think our product just helps ensure that that agent has all the context, can adapt to intent signals and actions in real time and deliver this really unified experience. And I think the shift was really inspired by the evolving complexity of B2B buying journeys and B2B marketing, where timing, personalization, and continuity are all critical to conversion this day and age.
All right, now sticking to the same theme. How do you balance automation efficiency with maintaining authentic brand voice across different and multiple AI agents?
Yeah, this is a topic that I think a lot of our customers are thinking about because everyone is thinking about agents and hiring agents across different business lines. So how do you maintain that unified voice? I think is a hot topic. I think number one, it really starts with when you're going through your AI strategy, figuring out those brand guidelines, tone, and messaging pillars, and then really bringing those into your AI model training and prompt design process. I think also just, really thinking of every single AI agent, not just as a tool, but as a representative of your brand. So at least with Qualified and with Piper, our AI SDR, we apply that human in the loop quality kind of assessment so that she can leverage conversational, almost like templates, but they're, one-to-one, I guess, that are really tailored to each persona, each funnel stage. And you as the owner can continuously monitor those interactions and give feedback. And so it's really not about replacing, that human nuance that humans could bring to those types of conversations, but you're replicating that out in a really scalable way that still feels really true to your brand.
Completely agreeing with you, but I also feel there's a lot of discussion around AI replacing humans and a lot of fear that's developing around this. And when you are mentioning that it's not something where we are trying to remove the human voice and actually trying to enhance it. So I think that kind of sums it up.
Yeah, great.
Now, I want to understand what framework do you use to determine which touchpoints in the funnel should be AI driven versus human driven? And is there like a particular strategy in your mind that you follow?
Yeah, I think looking at three key dimensions around volume, value, and variance. So, what I mean by that is like high volume, low variance interactions, like these could be answering questions or qualifying leads. Those are really ideal for AI. The more high value or like those high variance moments, like late stage deal cycles, those are really best for humans, right? And so we also overlay buyer intent and deal stage. Like AI should help guide and accelerate that, but humans should really lead where relationships and sort of like that trust is at stake. And I think agents are there to help scale the really high volume interactions and then leave the humans to actually help impact and do what humans are supposed to be doing, which is selling, right? But those like lower tier activities are really great for agents to accomplish.
Can you maybe explain a little bit about what one should do? Like, how should we balance that equation where, like, balance between AI agents and the human voice, where both of them can kind of uplift each other? Like, is there any tips that you have or any suggestions? Like, how do we maintain that balance?
Yeah, I think maintaining the balance is, when you are, I know a lot of our customers, when they are deploying our agent and thinking about bringing on, an AI SDR to act like a human SDR would on their team, I think you want to treat that agent like you would an onboarded employee, right? And so in the process, I think it's building a coalition internally of folks that have a stake in how this agent is going to represent that brand. So that's folks from sales, from marketing, from product potentially, and really gathering like, what do you think this agent's roles and responsibilities are? How do they want the agent to represent themselves as like a representative of the brand? And then once you've developed that framework, then it's really about onboarding that agent and again using that human in the loop kind of quality assessment to see how they're answering questions, figuring out what their goals are, figuring out, if they do need to hand off interactions to a human, at what point does that happen? But it all develops by having that sort of a cross-functional group, I would say, that all have, expertise in being customer facing or prospect facing and can bring that value to deploying your agent.
I think that's a great way to kind of sum it up and explain it in a nutshell. Now, when orchestrating multiple AI agents across a marketing and sales funnel, what technical challenges should companies anticipate? And how can they ensure like seamless data flow between these agents to maintain like a cohesive customer experience?
So I think the biggest challenge for agents is really the fragmentation of data sources. AI is really only as good as the data that you feed it. And if you want your agent to interact with your prospects, your website visitors, your leads in a really cohesive, intelligent way, that agent has to be aware of all of the context that's happening around that lead, their account, et cetera. And so that's why at Qualified, we built our agent on top of our platform, which has this native data layer that integrates with Salesforce as your CRM, but also other go-to-market systems like marketing automation, ABM platforms, sales engagement platforms, and then also brings in all of the activity that's happening in real time on the website and unifies all of that so that the agent understands who this lead is, what segment they fall into, why they're important to the business, and then what they're actually interested in. And that allows the agent to have a really intelligent either conversation or touch point that otherwise, that agent wouldn't have. And so I think you want to look for agents like this that are built on a really robust data platform, because without that data, the interactions that the agent is going to have are not going to be as powerful.
Yeah. Completely agreeing with you. And I think sticking with the same similar vibe, I want to understand what common misconceptions do you encounter about AI-driven like conversion strategies that you'd like to debunk today?
Yeah, I think one big myth is really that AI isn't good enough yet to start taking on some of these parts of these roles, right? Like the human SDR role. And I think in reality, AI, when it's orchestrated correctly, it's this really strategic layer that can augment your pipeline engine. And it's really not about automation. It's more about acceleration and personalization and precision. I think the other misconception is that like AI is going to fully replace human teams. And I don't think it necessarily does that, but I think it empowers those humans to actually focus on what they do best, right? We, with human SDRs today, we, give them a lot of tasks that can just be accomplished with AI. And so we can take those humans and really up level them to do higher value activities like going outbound and prospecting, becoming account executives to actually close business. That's where the need is today, and where AI can come in and take on more of those core responsibilities, I think is something that we're starting to see more and more of just as more of our customers move to this motion.
Now, talking about a little bit about the future, like few years ahead, how should companies balance building internal AI orchestration capabilities versus partnering with platforms like Qualified that already have integrated solutions? And what considerations should guide this build versus buy decision?
Yeah, I think the build versus buy decision should really be driven by time to value and scalability. I think if orchestrating AI isn't your company or your team's core competency, building from scratch is a resource intensive process. And it's really prone to gaps in security or compliance or really that customer experience. And it's going to take exponentially more time than going with a solutionized, purpose built agent. And so platforms like Qualified really offer that speed, the proven architecture, the ongoing innovation, as well as the best practices, right? That we can bring to the table to build a really bespoke agent for our customers. And so, but that said, I think if you have a very AI mature team and a very specific need, those hybrid approaches can work as well. I think ultimately the question is, do you want to spend time building the plumbing, or do you want to spend, that precious amount of time that you need, especially when it comes to pipeline in accelerating?
Yeah, I think that's a good advice. Now I want to, coming, I think, to my last or maybe not question. Do you have any tips for the budding marketers out there? What is it that they should be looking out for in the coming years when it comes to AI agents? And how should they deal with it?
That's a good question. I think it's so difficult. I mean, as a marketer, I think it's so hard to stay on top of just all of the innovation that's happening in this space. I think for me, my biggest tip has been to, with my team, we're constantly looking for ways to become AI experts ourselves and just start using AI more and more in our daily lives, within our own roles. So, I've started, really applying, of course, ChatGPT to my everyday, but figuring out what other AI tools that you can start using to help with content or pipeline, and really working with your team to strategize on those things. I think any marketer that isn't focused on AI right now is going to get left behind. So I think starting with your own role and where you can use AI to accelerate your own core roles and or responsibilities is a great place to start. But you have to start now. Is my advice.
That actually brings us towards the end of the interview. But before we let you go, I just want to know if you will give us a little bit, like little scoop about, because we know that you're in a panel discussion with Sixth Sense. So I want to,
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, what should we be looking out for? How does it look for you?
Yeah.
And what should we expect from the panel?
Yeah, we're very excited about this session. I think we're talking about specifically, agents, the AI SDR space within, marketing and pipe gen. And what's exciting is Adam Kaiser and I will be talking about, obviously Sixth Sense and Qualified. We are integration partners. Sixth Sense is a customer of ours. We're a customer of theirs. And so many marketers are using both of our platforms together today. And I think are really looking to us to understand they want to have an agent, they want to have agents for this space, and where's the handoff, I think is sometimes the question. We want an agent for inbound, an agent for outbound. How do we unify both agents? How do you deploy both of these agents together? And really, what we've been talking about today, like maintaining that consistent brand voice, making sure there is proper handoff between one agent to the next, and also just some use cases that they can take away to understand, where the places to start deploying some of these agents and where both of our customers seeing success. So it's going to be super interesting, and we're very excited to dive deep into some of these use
Yeah,
cases.
that sounds actually very interesting. I am looking forward to this panel,
Yeah,
and I
good.
know a lot of other people are too.
Awesome.
And that brings us towards the end of the interview. So thank you. Thank you so much, Claire, for taking out time and doing this with us.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.